What's going on, guys? It is summertime and it is hot in the garage, but today we are going to be looking at some blow-off valves. We've got it's a greddy Type S replica made by USA. The original Type S has been discontinued for a long time. This is a HKS SSQV knockoff replica, albeit it's a really nice one. The box, usually this is what, if you buy knockoff of something, this is the box that it comes in, looks like that. But this, there's a lot of copyright infringement on this. I've bought the actual SSQVs before, and the only real difference that I can tell is like the logos have like a hologram look to them. This does not, albeit other than that, it's a pretty nice knockoff. This is a Tial Q version blow-off valve, and this is a Turbo XS RFL style blow-off valve that I've had for a long time. That's seen some stuff and modifications and just fiddling with it. But we'll take them apart. We'll look at the insides. We'll see how they work, and yeah, take a look and see how they all operate. I've also got the air hose set up. I have the compressor turned down to 10 psi, so it's at low pressure, and we will put pressure to all of these and see how they work, where the downfalls are, how they seal, and yep, we'll go from there. Alright, so we'll just go ahead and start off with how a blow-off valve actually works. You have these on your turbo cars. This end's vacuum line goes to the intake manifold, so this will see vacuum, and usually, so when you go into vacuum, it will open up the valve and release the air from your charge pipe. Generally, they're open during like vacuum, high vacuum, decel, idling. Usually it's open at least a little bit. I have got a vacuum pump, so we'll be able to simulate and see how they operate. It's got the little gauge. We'll see. Typically, at least on the Honda Fit, it will idle around like 20 millimeters mercury to like 25 on decel. So that's the range, and we'll see where it opens up, and then you'll see how well they seal. This one is terrible just because of the design of it, but we'll go ahead and hook up the vacuum gauge to this. You can see it open. One thing you'll notice is won't hold vacuum, so this isn't sealed very well, partially due to the design of this one, but also because I've messed with it. In here we'll put the pressure to it, so you can hear it leaking out of there, and we'll take it apart and see exactly why that is. We'll also, these are little plugs. So this is 10 psi. We'll put this to the bottom, and I'll see if I can get it to, I can kind of hear it. Get the air hose stop leaking. It's leaking a little bit, but it's not that bad. And really, while it's operating, you will have the same pressure that is on the bottom side trying to open it will also be on the top side pushing it closed. So you have that going for you. So I had good luck with this one holding the pressure. So we'll see if some of the other ones not so much. But yeah, it doesn't hold a seal on the vacuum side. So it's got a spring in there, and then this is what's the inside. So it's got little O-rings that go up and down, like that. This is something I made a little while back. This was the original one that came with it. The little brass thing goes in there. It still didn't seal very good. And then a couple other ones, like a press fit sort of one. But that's this one. It's not great. I don't know. I liked how it sounded though. So we will put this one back together. Next one, we'll go ahead and look at this one. This is the greddy Type S style. It's got a little adjuster thing on top. It says soft and hard, but really in its stock configuration, this adds preload to the spring inside, so you can how soon it opens up. You can change the spring rate at what like vacuum level it opens up, sort of thing. But yeah, we'll pop this one apart and we'll see it. We'll look on the inside and see what it looks like too. But we'll go ahead and put the vacuum pump on it. This one does a better job of holding the vacuum. It's still got a leak somewhere inside. We'll take it apart and see if it's what's causing that problem. But you can see maybe you can see it open a little bit when I pump it up. So when you let off the throttle and the intake manifold goes into vacuum, it opens up this and releases your boost pressure and your charge pipes. That's this one. We'll pop this apart here in a minute, but let's go ahead and take a look at this. This is the Tial Q style one. These are the ones I typically use that I include with my turbo kits. They work well. They've got, you can see, a nice O-ring right there that seals here. That's nothing. I didn't show you this one. So this one, I don't super love how it seals around the valve at the bottom. It's got this like aluminum ring that's got this little rubber bit in there that's, I think it's pressed in there. I've tried to get it out with not much success. But you put this, let me get the air hose stop leaking. This like here, and you can hear it. It's leaking around this valve here. And really, while you're using, you would also have that same pressure pushing down, but it doesn't, I don't know, it might seal it up with that extra pressure pushing down, but I feel I would hit less, I would have a boost leak with this one when I ran this one. And we'll also, here we'll start. Let's see. Put this on here. When you put boost to this one, you can also hear that diaphragm in there is leaking a little bit. Also, this line might be leaking, but you can kind of hear. But yeah, when you put pressure to it, it doesn't move. You can push on it, and then you put pressure to it, it'll close itself. So that's how that works. You got the pressure on the top when you're under boost, pushing down, as well as that spring pressure helps hold things closed. Let's look at this Tial Q style one. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, this is ones I use in my turbo kits. I have good luck with them. This is a better design. But yeah, you put pressure to it. It's not leaking at all. It's holding that pressure in there. You take it off. So the diaphragms on these hold pressure well. So you go and you pressurize bottom of this, and let me get that stop leaking. It's leaking, but it's leaking from this my coupler thing here. But these ones, I don't have any trouble with them leaking. They work well. That holds the pressure good, and we'll put the vacuum gauge on it and see you'll be able to see that this one holds pressure good as well. And you'll be able to see this one open better than the others. So you can see, it is, okay. You can see it's not leaking down. You can pump it up and it holds that vacuum that's not leaking anything from that diaphragm. You see it's open, and then closed. So as you go into vacuum, it opens that up, releases all the boost pressure. Then as you ease back into the throttle, it closes back up, holds a nice seal in there. That's the Tial Q style one. And then the HKS SSQV style blow-off valve. I've always been intrigued by these because, yeah, of course. Alright, so this one is the HKS Super Sequential knockoff blow-off valve. I've always been intrigued by these. For the longest time, I didn't understand what the super sequential part of it, or what makes this sequential. We'll take it apart, we'll look at it, we'll pop this thing completely apart, because it has does some interesting things that none of these other ones do. So, one of the things we will look at first, we will put the vacuum pump to it. It's hard to tell, but make sure we got this sealed good. So, say this one holds vacuum. It doesn't leak down like some of the other ones. Holds the vacuum well, and then but you'll see we're at almost. Let's see, can we get it to 25? We're just about at 25, and it's still pretty well closed. If you look inside, I don't know if you'll be able to lighting, you'll be able to see. If I can release the vacuum, it moves just a tiny bit. So under full vacuum, this doesn't actually open up. Seems counterproductive. And this is a pull type blow-off valve versus these other ones that are a push. So as it releases, it goes up, and then the air goes out, whereas this one, the valve moves backwards. So the different style, so in theory, when this is under boost, you have pressure holding that valve closed also, which I can turn the air compressor up. We can put a lot of pressure to this and it doesn't leak, even without having pressure to the backside helping to hold it closed. Just the pressure inside of here helps hold the valve itself closed. But one thing we will see, is I found it interesting, and then took it apart to see how and why. So when we put pressure to the backside of this, so that's under. So we got pressure and we let off, and you can see it opens. It's kind of hard to tell with the video. But when you put pressure to it and then you release the pressure, it actually opens. Go ahead and we'll turn up the pressure on the compressor. So it's at like 90 psi now, which you would never run in your car because that would be a bad time. But when you put pressure to it, and then when the pressure is released, the valve opens. And we'll take it apart and we'll see exactly why that is. But yeah, when you put pressure to it and then the pressure is released, then the valve opens and then slowly goes closed again. You can see it. It was interesting. I thought that was very odd, and I took it apart and saw why, and it's a very, very interesting design versus a lot of these other ones are just a simple diaphragm sort of deal. We will see how this holds the pressure So I have the compressor turned back up to 90 psi. Let's see if I can get the dumb air gun to stop leaking. All right, there we go. But come on. That is a lot more pressure than you're gonna see, and it's leaking out of the bottom here. It's not leaking out of the valve itself. So this holds the pressure the most out of all of them. Because even this one that holds pressure well, without the pressure on the other side of the diaphragm, this one leaks too. Yeah, leaking. So the super sequential is interesting that it doesn't, even without pressure to the backside, it will hold the boost pressure. So we'll go ahead. We took apart the this one. Woo, come back here. Took apart this one. Saw how it works. It's kind of like a piston type versus like a diaphragm, which is what these two and also the HKS uses. We'll pull this one apart real quick. Look at the insides of it. It's just these couple Allens on top. Okay, so we have got, try not to lose all these. Alright, got this, got a spring in here. This is a different spring. I was trying different spring rates to see what kind of effects it had. It looks like the diaphragm was bunched up in here, because usually this one would seal. It would hold vacuum, but it wasn't a little bit ago. But I just saw that the diaphragm in here was bunched up a little bit, so that was probably why. But you see the little rubber diaphragm thing in here. It gets pinched down here, sealed, and then it moves up and down like that. And you have the spring on top holding the pressure, and then when under boost, you have that boost pressure also pressing down. Then under vacuum, it sucks it up and then opens that valve and lets all the boost out. They're pretty simple. Blow-off valves just inherently are very simple objects, machines. I don't know. They're not complicated. If you're going to cheap out on a blow-off valve or a wastegate, cheap out on the wastegate, or not the wastegate. Cheap out on the blow-off valve versus the wastegate. Spend money on a wastegate. If the wastegate fails, it's going to blow up your motor. It's just going to make way more boost. If a blow-off valve fails, it's not going to hurt anything. So if you're going to cheap out on one, cheap out on a blow-off valve versus a wastegate. So that's that one. This one is the same as that. It's got a diaphragm in there with moves the valve up and down, operates the same way. This is the same but different. Since this is a pull type, we've got a couple other things in here, and it's got a secret hiding in here. But we'll get this pulled apart and look in the inside. To take these apart, there is four Allen head bolts on the front that stick up further than the other ones, and those ones are how you take this front cover off. You can also change out this insert thing on the front to make it make a slightly different sound. We'll take these out real quick. Pop the cover off. Try not to lose all of these. Alright. Got that. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So we got goes there. Put all these in here. Okay, so you've got this, comes off, this little cover, and then this insert deal that goes inside there. Got little keyways, sits in there. You can change these out, make different sounds with it. But this is the valve part, and and then we will we'll go ahead and take these off. Take this rest of this off, and then we'll just go ahead and completely disassemble this. You guys can see what's on the inside of one of these super sequential blow-off valves. But yeah, just these off the front. This is a kind of like an O-ring, sort of. It's a piece of metal covered in rubber for the sealing surface. It's a good design. I like how this is done. So there's this piece. It's metal under here, but it's coated in rubber. So it's rigid and can be bolted down and sealed, but this is your sealing surface for the main valve. This is the part of it. We'll get this apart, but yeah, you can see that this red part and this shiny silver part, they move independent of each other. This is where the sequential part of the blow-off valve comes into play. We'll go ahead and pull all these off the back and then get this diaphragm off the back and get a look on the inside. I've taken this part off. There's nothing under this. It's just a for funsies cover beauty thing. There's nothing underneath this part here. So I'll go ahead and zip off all these off the back very quick. People are messaging me. Not lose all these. All right. Ooh, dropped one. Okay. Put all these over here. Okay. I don't know where that went. There it is. Okay. Throw it on the floor. Okay. So we've got same diaphragm sort of thing as the other ones. You have this rubber diaphragm here. Valve moves in and out. You'll see there is a tiny hole right there. Stick something through there to be able to take this nut off. But this is actually, this nut on top is actually a one-way valve. And that is part of why it acts the way that it does. What did I do with my adjustable wrench? Go ahead and take this off. I'll show you. So this is actually a one-way valve. We've got a little cup here. This is our diaphragm. A little washer. So this is a one-way valve. There's a hole in this, the valve stem, I guess you would call it here. Hole down the center, and then it connects to those two holes there. So what that does when you've got this valve in here, when you're under boost, it will allow boost pressure to the back side of this diaphragm. Because remember, even without pressure to the backside of this. Without pressure to the backside, it was holding way more pressure than you would be running. So it doesn't really need the pressure from the backside to hold the valve closed. Just the boost pressure coming through here holds that valve closed. So it has boost pressure on here, and then when you go into vacuum, it sucks out all the boost that was on this side of the diaphragm, and then all the boost pressure that's on the back side of the diaphragm is what opens it. So that's why when we were able to just put boost pressure to it, when you took that pressure away, it would shoot open. So it really, it's going to react faster than these other ones. And then here, we'll take this off and get this valve part itself. There's these little valve guide things. It's got a little rubber seal on there. This part here, it holds boost, it holds pressure, but it's still, when you put pressure behind it, you can still hear some of it leak off, but it holds pressure back here pretty decently. So this is the valve itself, but yeah, you'll see it's kind of hard to tell. This is the sequential part of it. You can kind of see this moves independent of this. So when it opens, initially it opens only this little part here, and then as soon as it opens, so as it pulls back, it pulls just the little part first, and then the whole rest of it pulls back after that, which gives it the kind of the signature sound that these do have. But it's interesting, yeah, that it's got this check valve in there to the back side of the diaphragm, and so that when you start to hit vacuum, it just shoots open. It doesn't even super rely on the vacuum itself, but it's the pressure behind and then that pressure differential that opens it. So yeah, found that very interesting with this, that it's not just slightly more complicated, more engineering went into it than something like this that's just a diaphragm. But so yeah, get this back together. And it's got the spring. Let me show you this. It's got the spring in the back here, and it's a pretty small spring. The one in that other one was small, but I put that smaller one in there in attempts to get it to open under less vacuum. Because before, man, this one would hardly open it. Like at full idle, full decel, it would barely open. So yeah, it doesn't really matter what your how much vacuum you're pulling. It's the pressure difference on the different sides of the diaphragm itself. I guess I need to put this on there before I shove that on. But so that's how they work. I've always been intrigued by the super sequential blow-off valves, and now that I've seen how they work, that's very intriguing versus other styles. There was a company that made blow-off valves similar to this. It was Synapse Engineering. I think they've since gone out of business, but it was similar to this, where it used boost pressure on the backside of the valve to open it up when you close the throttle. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly what happened to them. They went out of business like 2019, 2020, something like that. But, I got this stuck in there. Oh, there we go. Maybe. Maybe not. There we go. Alright. So, yep, I'll get these put back together, but that's how they work. I was intrigued by the HKS Style 1. But yeah, it's like, this is, I don't know, a quality knockoff. There were versions of them that didn't have the HKS printed on them, which might be lesser quality, but They were trying pretty hard to rip off the super sequential blow-off valve, but I plan on making different little inserts to put in the end of this and see what kind of sounds I can get out of this. So, all right, well, that's it. You got questions, comments, complaints, concerns? You do you. Leave those down below. Catch you guys in the next one. All right, it's me from the future. I ended up had this on here for a little bit with the small spring that it came with, and it had a little bit of like compressor surge, turbo flutter that I wasn't super happy with, because yeah, in the test it wouldn't open up under the vacuum. So I made a softer spring that I put in there, and now it opens up under vacuum and performs how I would want it to. So I just think with the low amount of boost that I'm running that it wasn't enough to open the valve quick enough. So with the softer spring in there now, it opens up a lot quicker. And I don't know, so if you guys want more info on how to make a softer spring for that, I can do a video on that. But alright, guys, take care. Catch you later.